wanted to make another video. I leave here in about 4 days, November 4th. Today is the 31st, it's Halloween Day. So I'm looking at some videos. I only have a few subscribers that I look at. A lot of it's business and entrepreneurships and motivation videos. On how to start your businesses, promotions. A lot of it has a lot of comic kind of sort of to it. And they're a bunch of YouTube videos. And, I was thinking, I watch all these videos doing nothing but analyzing everything. What does it have to do with Frankie? Because it's all over the public world, right? Frankie got raped, Michael Jackson, Barack Obama. And, and I'm thinking to myself, some things that don't even relate to the video necessarily that kind of trigger the idea of how many people were against Frankie. And one of the things I want to point out that a whole crowd of people saw with me is that there was a total, when I was going to good elementaries, there was a total of I think 600 to 700 students at that school. The exact number. I want to say there were 600 students, but it was 600 to 700 students at Good Elementary, entirely registered when I went to school there, when I was about in 5th grade. And I wanted to say that when the whole situation with Miguel raping Frankie happened, that happened before I met Michael Jackson. Miguel and Diana literally hit the lottery on that one. He got Michael Jackson. I didn't. What happened to us began to use as a curse so that Miguel could bully Frankie and just keep doing that and see what happens. Just keep doing that and see what happens. We're just going to see what happens. And Frankie it was impossible because he knew that as soon as Frankie, all the gay communities attacked our family, my mom and Frankie, and our family, and figure out the network, all you have to do is just have somebody else keep doing it and never blame it on him because it was other people that did it too. And you're never going to the penitentiary. So it's really a tug of war going back and forth to see who can get away with what and just milking the time when nothing is really happening. It's just living a really bad life. And one of the things that I can point out that a whole crowd of people saw was at Good Elementary when these 2 police officers showed up. For anyone that went to Good Elementary, when I was in 5th grade, which would have been about 1995, it would have been about 1996. It would have been about 1996, 1997, because 1997 was when Tupac died, I think. And I don't know if that was in early 6th grade. So it was 1995. It was in 1995 to 1996 that you can go ahead and look to find this out. And these 2 police officers, they always came every year. You know how they used to have the dog McGruff, don't do drugs, and they used to give red ribbons to everybody, to all the kids not to do drugs, and they used to bring drugs in a case and bring their dog and have a speech to the police to all the students, because they would talk about stories of things of gang members, because back when I was a kid, gang banging was a very large, big thing. Crips and Bloods and VNS and all the sorts of shit, right? I wasn't ever really involved or liked any of it. But anyway, they talked about stories. You can talk to these 600 students and track this down wherever it is, and they will be able to verify what I'm telling you and how they mutilated Frankie. And this guy, he had some sort of injury on his chin. I don't know what it was, but it looked like he had it was disfigured, like he got into a car wreck, and I think it was a car wreck or something bad had happened to him, but he was a cop. And I don't think it was when he was a cop, it was when something else happened. And there was a female, I'm gonna say this one was a female, 100% sure, this police officer. And I talked about that this police officer went to the very, very corner of the fucking stage, like he was protecting Miguel, and looked at the police officer while all the transgender teachers and gays, adults, were finding out. Guess who raped Frankie? Don't worry, I'm going to go against this straight police officer female. She doesn't know. And she goes like this, and they were running all their circuits. So everybody that can find out, and remember that, you will be able to verify that the police officers were strictly for Michael Jackson and for Miguel. And they're going against Frankie to allow the rape to happen. Because they knew about it. Now, everyone knew about this. This is, to me, it's so boggling because everyone fucking knew about it. The fucking teachers were coming at me. You gotta understand that when I saw I still don't even know if I was giving oral sex or not. I think I did. I don't know if I did, but it was very, very fast the minute that I caught Frankie being raped. It was like that. I mean, it was just like a few seconds, and then I didn't know, and I was about 4 years old, and I was a little kid. This is like, I want to say, I think this was even like before my uncle raped me, which did happen, Robert Palomo, and with Frankie. And so what happened with this situation was, when I told my mom and Frankie picked up his ribs, and there was just like these huge like welts, these huge welts of like fucking yellow and purple. I mean, it looked very deep. In order to have deep wounds like that, it was a very deep, it was horrific. All over his ribs, it was horrific. And I looked, and I remember just like opening my eyes, like, holy shit, he's beaten, like, what the fuck? Because when I was a kid, there was a kind of mentality, me and Frankie was like, we're like the Super Mario Brothers or some shit. Like, because we used to watch them, Super Mario Brothers together, and I was always around Frankie. Like, as a kid, I always kind of saw me and Frankie as a tag team. And anywhere he went is where I went. That's just how it was. And when I saw these bruises, I didn't know how to relate to it, because a bruise takes somewhere around, I don't know how long it takes to develop. A bruise will take, once you get hit that hard to cause something that's purple and yellow, probably 2 days, 3 days after being, I don't know, you could talk to the MMA fighters and find out when that is, how long that takes, or a medical doctor. But when he pulled the day that he pulled up that shirt was the day that I saw I saw Miguel, bam, fucking just drill. I mean, he flew to the fucking tire of the fucking wall. I mean, he, like, I couldn't, like a rag doll. Like, it looked as horrific as you can imagine. If you think you've seen movies that done this shit, he fucking flew, and he like he was dying. And I remember just like freezing and just pausing, like, and I was not older than 5 years old. I was like 4 years old, and I told my mother the day that it happened. So after his tears wiped away and all this other shit, because the whole event happened within 15 minutes, at least from what I saw and showed up. And so when we get back to the house and I drew pictures of this, when she picked up, I kept on saying, Frankie, he's like, he hit him. I was trying to say danger, like hit him. He hit. Frankie. And I kept on saying like this. And this is when my mother said, and she goes like this, like, what's wrong? Like, and she goes and she picks up Frankie's shirt. And she goes, and she goes like, they're a little kid, right? You check to see his poop or something. I don't know if Frankie had diapers. I don't think he did. But and then she picks up his shirt, and she goes, Frankie, ¿Quién te hizo? ¿Qué te pasó? ¿Te caíste? ¿Qué pasó? What's wrong with you? So when he got punched, I don't know I can't remember exactly what side he punched, but I just know that you don't get punched like that. Yellow and purple bruises are like that. He could have punched the other side, and it was just like this one was already bruised up, and then he punched this one, and maybe saw some slight red scars, like a fresh wound. So I wanted to say this because, you know, there's nothing that can be done about it. You know, what are you going to do? Go through the box of child molesting cases and point them against me? That's what you're going to do, because there's a bunch of kids that go through it, you know, but there's a hip-hop station for 97.9 beat, you know, Keynote, 90, you know, Kid Crack. So anyway, to me, it's very overwhelming, because I think to myself, when that whole situation happened, everyone, I'm telling you, every fucking person at that fucking school was swarming because of Michael Jackson. There were celebrities showing up. They were all homosexuals and transgenders. That's all they were fucking doing in riot. This was all about Michael Jackson. All about feeling emotions for Michael Jackson, the fucking leader, our gays. This is for the gays and trans. That's all this was. There was no like, no, what you're doing is wrong. You're going to be thrown in prison. No, we just got to let this one get away because of Michael Jackson. Even though he had nothing to do with it. So what does this cause to Frankie and me? So the only thing that ever protected me, and I solidly know this why, is because I did not recall and didn't understand what nobody said. My mom and Frankie didn't talk about it. We were going over there all the time, and I had asked my mother, Frankie, it wouldn't have made sense, because as my mother got older, she would have understood, wait a minute, if Frankie's showing up with those bruises and has a smell like that, she has to propel life and forward. Like, I have to get rid of this child because I have nothing in life if I want to live. Do you want to survive? You're going to get Michael Jackson, President Barack Obama, out for the niggas. You just have to give them what you want. The same thing, you have no choice. This is not our country. This is the blacks that did the slaves, they own the business, you know, the racism, and then the whites. A Mexican immigrant coming into this country, you're not going to have very much to talk about. You know, we know who goes first and who gets the prizes and gifts. So, to me, in this situation, there's so much bitterness that you can go in so many bitterness directions with this. I mean, it's so profound to me, because I couldn't say this enough. I think this could have been at least alleviated had they told me, but this was a profitable game. Who can gain the profits and who they're going to make heroes and just burn the time off. That's what they did. And the police officers knew. This is one of the most frightening things, is that the police officer knew, and this pig was all for fucking the faggots. This guy should not, this faggot should not have never been a police officer. And was on stage doing his performance. And this woman did not know. I remember, so you can get this 600 students to talk about this. So anyway, moving forward, this is the past. I think to myself, when I used to leave the house all the time, nobody really understood this. I used to leave the house and felt more comfortable because I knew I could leave the house, because Frankie used to babysit Julian, and I didn't ever want Julian to be by himself at the house, because my mom would be at work and my dad was on disability. I mean, my dad was already, was mentally, he committed suicide. He was in his recovery. And even before then, I just didn't like Julian being by himself, because someone could touch him. So I always had to make sure, like, I'd come home, check in, or when I had to stay home, I would stay home. But I would never want to leave. I had to leave somebody in charge to Julian. You couldn't leave Julian by himself at the house. So Frankie it allowed Frankie to get out of his room and kind of venture off, because he started coming out of his room, and making himself something to eat. Because you got to understand, Frankie spent like 15 years in prison. Frankie got trained to stay in his room. Remember the president and Barack Obama and Michael Jackson. Stay in your room for the faggots. And then they're going to keep changing your this is your personality. No, this is what the excuse was. No, somebody else has problems too. We're all come together. You're never going to win a conversation with those pigs. But as far as Frankie goes, because Frankie didn't, I talked about this so many times, Frankie didn't have one friend, not one person that ever showed up. There was only one person, that was Mickey, and that was Miguel's kid. And Mickey used to have a lot of gifts. He used to have a lot of game toys and shit. He had a significant amount of game toys. Mickey was really taken care of. You looked in his room and you looked at how everything he had. He was really raised with everything you could imagine, very orderly. He was taken care of. And he was trained and taught. He was taught a lot of things very early in life. Like how to use a medical kit, that he had, and you got to understand, like, I remember even, like, many years ago, Mickey used to have this army medical kit, and you could pull out this flashlight, and you could put different lenses, and with this lens, he was telling me, like, you could use a red lens for at night, so that in the military, when you're looking at a map, and you don't want to be detected by your enemy, you could put a red lens on there, and it prevents people from being able to watch you from a distance. It kind of helps camouflage you so that you can look at the map to see what's going on. And he had different lenses for different situations. And I remember him doing this, and Miguel and Diana immediately, as he was showing me and Frankie, because it resembles police. It resembles the authority of a police. And he told Mickey, like, put that away. And Mickey literally put it away and goes in his fucking room. See, there's things that you don't even have any idea of how they were training Frankie to keep quiet. And using Mickey as well as an asset tool. But there's so many directions you can go with this, because it was everyone. Frankie and me and my mother were being outnumbered 1,000 to 1. And with the highest level millionaires. I mean, how even toxic this is. When I was a kid, they used to start bringing all these fancy cars. Like, I'm watching all these fancy cars. They used to bring all these fancy cars to Good Elementary. They were doing that whenever Frankie was in school. And they used to do it for Top Gator. For if you made straight A's, you got Top Gator, and then you got to have a picture taken with a fancy car. How much money do you think these Lamborghinis, Vipers, these I built a model for Frankie, but I guess they threw it away. Or didn't want it, and I had to throw it away. Hitler's car, it was like a Mercedes, like 1935 Mercedes or some shit. And Frankie took pictures, so somebody showing up with a lot of money, millions of fucking dollars, hundreds of thousands during that time. How do you think all those homosexuals that own those cars, and all the gays and transgenders that were at Good Elementary, and all the other teachers and mothers and fathers that were showing up, how do you think that now these people are going to show up? How do you think that these people are going to show up and not think about, find out where Frankie lives. Let's find out where Hector lives. Let's find out his mom. Who's Rainy Paloma? So, you have a lot of people that's involved that has a lot of money. So you not only have these people walking on stage, an astronaut, police officers, you have everyone against you. There's no fucking way. Because Frankie, he is having his ass ripped open for President Barack Obama, because now President Barack Obama, that he did what he did, and he's having all his blacks and his people do what he's doing to me and what he did, the murder attempt, raping me, excuses, political power, I didn't have nothing to do with it. He's sending everyone against me because he's drowning everything out, and that's why. And he will win. This is, kill who I need you to kill. I'm gonna get what I want. He's gonna get his happy meal. It bothers me so much because my mother, I know, didn't want to do it on purpose. I know my mother didn't want to. I know my mother wanted to, this is not me attaching myself to my mother. She's mommy, and she just loves people, and just what just mommy does. Mommy's just love. No. She did not do that with the intentions that I'm just going to get rid of this child. Because you have no choice. If you want to live, you have to allow the child to get raped. Because remember, we got to save Michael Jackson, and we have to do this for the gays, and feel sorry for Miguel, because this is about Ken Cooper and the police department. The police department all knew about it, and then just keep firing back and forth over there, and back and forth over there, and then back and forth. Keep burning the time until the time is gone. And you understand that Frankie is by the time Frankie's understanding that whoever trained him at school and whoever was around him when I didn't catch him was training him that allow other people to rape you. Because I remember very distinctively when we went to VFW, which is Veterans Night. This is where people from World War II showed up. Veterans Night, or in the Army, right? When I was a kid, and they would have discount drinks at the bar, like on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I used to go there all the time with my dad at the bar with Frankie. And we would just play video games. And Frankie, I remember his behavior, and I drew pictures of this. He was completely consenting to that sex. He didn't understand, this is what I do, this is what I have to do, this is what I have to allow people to do to me, this is who I am. When you want to get a good fucking, you get Barack Obama for the excuse and a reward. When you want a good fucking, you get Jesus Christ for the forgiveness. When you want, I can't explain who's smarter than you, Jesus Christ. And then it's never going to stop. There's nothing that can be done about it. But as far as Frankie as a human being, I believe in God. There may not be one. As far as I know, whether I want to say, it's a different purpose, no. Some of us may just evaporate to nothing. I don't know. But I believe and I have faith that there's a God. Because you're never going to get, my mother will never get justice. My biological mother will never get justice against Barack Obama for doing that to me. My mother would not be saying, thank you for having your niggas come at my son and raping him with a black nigga. This is ending racism. You just fix things. This is, you're real smart. My mother, I know exactly, but I can't. I have to change the story, make it up. Because Barack Obama and his people that are attacking. That's why. There's in all his military. This is a military war against me, and that's all they want to do. So, as far as when Frankie goes through this type of situation, I think to myself, all this behavior, he's being trained, because if he's by himself all the time and he knows right from wrong, and he does, he's consistently being trained by somebody else other than Miguel punking him out for 15 years, bullying him, wanting to fight and do all kinds of shit. It's other people that are doing it at his school, DeWitt Perry and R.L. Turner. So every time you give him a treat, good little boy, did you get your ass turned around and get a good fucking? I'll tell you, Michelle Obama was laughing at McDonald's. Let me tell you how I'm going to be smarter than you. And they are. Smarter doesn't mean holy and good. Smarter means you get what you want and everything and else. That also was what that means. But as far as, Frankie goes with the situation, it's a tremendous guilt on me. I feel like I just didn't do enough. You don't understand the magnitude of what I'm doing. My mother, being an immigrant that doesn't understand how to read, and me helping her. Like, I'm protecting my mother and I'm protecting Frankie, and I have to build something for myself, and I have to honor my father, and I have to watch out for Dad because he's drinking, and I have to. I mean, I went in the car with my dad to the bar when he was pissed drunk, hitting curves, probably like 100 fucking times in the car, at least like 100 fucking times. We would get on the highway and drive for 45 fucking minutes to go to fucking Centennial Bar, for those that remember what Centennial Bar by Core Records many years ago, and drive like 40 minutes just to go buy up a fucking 12-pack. I mean, this is fucking crazy. I mean, this is, and he would be pissed fucking drunk. I could get killed in a car wreck. I was in the car with him all the fucking time. And, you know, but it's so easy to blame it on me. And I always feel like I just didn't do enough. Why didn't I? Because I have to do something for myself. Nobody's going to give me any money either. Nobody's bringing me money. In fact, look what happened with my dad. Nobody threw pennies at me, and he was fucking dead. My mom's biological mother got cut off from me when I was about 18 or 19 years old, and her identical twin started posing as her, fooling me the entire time. And that was her and her aunt. My mom's twin sister is nothing of what it's very, very different from what my mother was like in a lot of ways. Very, very different. You can 100%, they know she's mentally ill. They know that she is, and they can milk her and do whatever the fuck they want. They're just going to keep making excuses because of what had happened, and that's why they wanted to rape me, you know, but there's a tremendous amount of guilt. Like, you don't understand that Frankie's burying this inside of himself so awfully, so monstrously, that to me, it's almost like he knows a different perspective of my mother that I don't know. I'm being raped, and I just have to help mother. Biological mother, not a fucking twin. And, I mean, the President of the United States ordered this. He ordered this. Use the biological twin to fool Hector and do all this other shit, and then Michael Jackson, and then political power. It's never going to stop. They have all the power and the tools to rain punishment and justice, and they, you know, it's just never going to work. It's not going to work with those people. They get everything they want, and they get everything they want. And yeah, I have no choice to then change the stories fitting for those motherfuckers and whatever, everything else. But it's difficult because I still didn't say everything I saw in that photo. Whenever my mother has that photo on her, placed on her, next to those statues, and on the table of what Frankie was saying when he was taking that picture of me and him sitting in the front yard. And it's astounding to me because there's no way that Frankie down the road can ever have a stable mind to what was going on, because they knew that they're incubating horror. So when it blossoms, it's Keynote 97 on the beat. Promote this on the radio station. Everybody, look how cool I am. This is for the black niggas, you know, inner racism. This is white. Oh, I'm a Mexican. But you look all full-blown white. But I'm just Mexican again for hip-hop station. Michael Jackson. So if everybody knows, don't you think the head crack and that radio station all know about Michael Jackson and the rapes? Why don't you just keep reporting, you know, promoting that on air? So anyway, it's everybody. Every fucking corner of inch. And I saw Frankie into some of the most bitter situations you could imagine. Because I remember him telling me that, oh, hey, you know, Mickey got a house? Because he got married to some blonde woman, some white blonde woman. I don't know if it's a transgender or not. I think it is. I don't know. Valerie. Met her once or twice. And he said, he said, Frankie told me, he goes, yeah, you know, Mickey got a house. Yeah, his grandparents bought him a house, or gave him a house, free, full-flown house away when he was like, when he got married. He was 19 years old, I think. I think he was 19. He got a full. He said he was a 3-bedroom house, and I remember Frankie sitting on the floor playing video games, and he was just like, he couldn't believe that all this suffering. I mean, there was no doubt in my mind. I didn't understand what, but he was just looking like, I can't believe that you just did that and what I just had to go through, and now he's being rewarded with a 3-bedroom house given away. Like, fucking, here's the keys. Here's your house. And like, Frankie got emotional, and you know, to me, because I'm there and watching it, and to me it's very frightening, because it's like, it's hard not to feel sympathetic. And I'm not allowed to, because everyone else takes ownership of Frankie, and everyone is fighting for Kenneth and the gays, because Frankie's gay. And there's, you know, because it all falls on me, you know, it all falls on the fact that my mother's emotions and thoughts and everything that went, nobody cared. Nobody absolutely cared. Nobody gave a goddamn fuck. Nobody cared. You know, when Frankie used to be in his room, he used to be the one who had all, like, he got all the video games, right? We kept all the video games in his room, even the ones I had. And, you know, so I wanted to play video games, we'd go to his room. So when we got like a 6-button Sega Genesis controller instead of the regular 3 buttons, he paid, you know, whatever for it, you know. Or he got a memory card, and the new PlayStation, he went and was working at MJ Designs, and that's where he got his PlayStation. And you know, it's really fucked up, because, you know, as far as my mother goes, she knows that it's hard, because it's from a psychological point. I think from an outside point of view, you see chess pieces and where you need to change the emotional statues and place them, because it is going to be healthy, right? But what you don't see is the impressions and the emotions that my mother was giving and Frankie was, and the details, the very deep details into that I believe is important to identify. And because it rains on me with the whole situation with Frankie coming home from school, and you know, I would see Frankie's eyes red like he was crying sometimes, and not like red, and I would come home and his eyes would just be red like he was just thinking to himself, and he was like fighting, like, it's okay, it's okay, Barack Obama fixed it. Well, yeah, you get red, Michael Jackson political fight. My Marine died over there and got burned alive. I feel emotion for saving the country. That's exactly what he's doing. But it's hard, because I would come home and I would say, hey, Frank, you all right? He goes, hey, you okay? And he'd be in living room. This is like in the later stages before he went to the Navy. You know, I was like 14, 13. And it's very difficult, because it's almost I search for the strength that Frankie had in this point in my life, when it was my family. It wasn't anybody else's. It wasn't this monkey motherfucker who keeps pretending to be Robert Serrati and Barack Obama, you know, taunting my dead sister. It wasn't, you know, this Ku Klux Klan motherfucker over here who was doing this shit, you know, or the Miguel representing the Mexicans for raping Frankie. You know, it's very difficult, because, you know, he's not just wanting to, it's not that he's just finding strength, because I don't think you're finding strength. He is, there's no other way of life that you understand. Because Frankie had no friends. Frankie had no social friends at all. And he did want to have social friends. But they violated him so many times. You know that all those encyclopedias, I actually took those to my apartment. Anything that I could keep that was my father's, or a lot of the things that Frankie didn't want anymore, I kept for souvenirs, hoping that maybe I could put it in a storage unit and just save it all. All those encyclopedias. We had a college encyclopedias, because my dad wanted me to go to college, and we had another set of encyclopedias. All those encyclopedias that were brown, none of them got opened, but maybe one or two of them out of like 25 that were there. 30, it was 30 of them. It was Britannica encyclopedias that were brown. My dad paid $2,000 for them back whenever I was like, I think I was like 5 years old when he bought them, 5 or 6 years old. And we set them on the shelves in Frankie. They never got opened, not one time. I swear to you, when I was like 15 years old, 14, I finally pulled a couple of them off, and I opened them. They smelled brand new. I mean, you could still smell the brand new, because and there were like, pages were sticking together as they were brand new. And anyway, I thought it was important for me to talk about, because it's a tremendous, that if I don't just let it go, then I can't function. I can't function at all. I have to allow it to happen, because I can't move forward. There's nothing, because nothing can no one's doing anything about it, and I'm being persecuted and attacked even when I don't talk about it. Like, when I'm living in this house, every body language and every table in here and everything, that table that is out there that looks like a coffin, like a little girl's coffin, like a little dead body, they'll use that as a metaphor, hypothetical situation. I go upstairs, looks like a DJ booth, they'll use that as a hypothetical situation. That refrigerator that looks like a gift, looks like a big coffin, they'll use that as a gift, and is a hypothetical situation. So it's very difficult, because they don't allow me to talk to my biological mother, and they're poisoning her. And everyone is against me. Every single person. There's no way that Frankie could have functioned. They built a bomb, and they were waiting for this poison, a chemical bomb, for the poison to just seep out everywhere. I don't believe that you can just buy my mother a brand new mansion with her kids and think that was okay. But the president's giving you orders. Barack Obama and his black movement against me, and all the entertainment and racism that's going on, the political hate and war against me, that's what he's doing, because there's no protection. I have no protection. I never know who may pull a knife on me. I don't never know who may actually hit me with a car. I never know if there's someone who pulls, beats the shit out of me and jumps me again. I truly don't ever know. And I'm a lot more fragile now and weaker than I was, and vulnerable to any threats like that may happen, than I was in my past. And in my past, it was happening all the time. But when I'm 25 working at Advanced Graphics, that's all they're doing is bringing up Miguel and telling me to stay over there, telling me he made a mistake. Just go over there and talk to him. And this is Gary Gwynn. This is Mike Standish. When I walk over to his office, they're staying in a position and all feeling emotional sad and playing sad for themselves, for Miguel. And that's all they're doing. And so when I'm at Standard Register, doing the same fucking thing. When I'm going to all these places, they're all attacking me, because he's playing sympathy little puppy. He was a puppy, and he made a big boo-boo. He put Frankie in fucking prison for 15 fucking child. He took his stripped his fucking child away. Like we never one time in my life that I can ever recall, not one time. You know how like when you have little kids come over, like your little, you have your family and you bring your little friends, your sons, your daughters, kids, friends from school or from church or Frankie, when he had birthdays, Mickey never showed up for a birthday that I can recall. Maybe when he was like 15 or 16 once to a restaurant, but that was it. And we used to like, what me and Frankie used to do. One of Frankie's favorite restaurants used to be Don Pablo's. Don Pablo's back in the day, for those who remember, used to be right next to China. Was it China Buffet? I think it was China Buffet or something like that. It was in Louisville next to Reese Ridge Mall. I remember seeing Miguel and Diana there when we got there, and my mom goes, I go, hey, look, it's Diana and Miguel. And my mom goes, oh, yeah. My mother found out earlier than I thought. She just didn't say anything because Frankie, I remember being 16. Anyway, because she had slapped, she had already slapped my mother. Yeah. So, and I remember my mom flinching because she slapped my mother and she got up off the chair very fast to make a quick motion to let you know, I slapped you, bitch. Remember who's in charge. On my Don Pablo's, we only went to Don Pablo's on birthdays. We only went there like on a birthday or like a Christmas dinner. I know it's Christmas dinner at a Mexican restaurant, but we only went there on a birthday occasion because it was like fancy eating to us. Because we were always poor. We never had, so like to other people it was normal. But when we went to Don Pablo's, it was like a fucking fancy we went to a fancy meal. So we never went out to eat to restaurants. It was only like when we went to birthdays, we never went to fancy places like hear stories and stuff like that. But we just got something to eat. And but it's very it's excruciating because I think to myself of how my mother is having to behave when Frankie's already been trained to then sort of try to train my mother. It's okay, it's okay. No, it's okay. I'm good. Still bien, mom. Still bien. Okay, it's okay. Do you see who really is in charge? It's just a lot of guilt. And I don't know if it's, I don't know, maybe guilt is not the right word. It's just like, I wish I would have, I don't wish, it's like, why I couldn't have done more. Like, you don't understand that I have to think of myself as well. I have to have a career. I have to think of working out, and I have to take care of my father. Every time I watch these interviews, you don't understand. This is a military war against these homosexuals and transgenders are all over the television in fucking military mentality against me. Every body language that they're talking on camera with interviews and whatnot is to project something out of their mouth to turn it against me. Let me explain what really happened. Let me explain the negotiations. I know who stupid is. I know what really happened. This is never like, you just beat the shit out of a fucking kid and you never went to prison, kept him in his cage for 15 fucking years. And the entire school, Michael Jackson, he bought my mother a mansion. My dad's missing $175,000. He's a World War II veteran. One of the first graduates in the United States. And you just stole everything. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. It's very difficult because it's not that, for those, I hope to God that there's someone else. I hope to God that there's a few people outside that are watching, that are completely detached and watching every phone call that I'm making, because I was just speaking to Lindsay Wessinger, and she's scolding my mother, just spitting in her face in every goddamn way that she can, that is watching and analyzing, because I don't have any power over it. and it's there's just like I feel so I feel so bad about empathetic about Frankie. Like I feel like a kid should never be beaten the fuck out of like that, and you have Michael Jackson sitting on your table as well. They're making fun of you and training you in front of a fucking stage at Good Elementary. Imagine every time that I didn't imagine what they were doing to Frankie when they had seminars and shit on stage in front of 600 students. Usually it was always 600 students in the entire cafeteria. For those who remember Good Elementary. Imagine how intense it was. Imagine what performance they were doing in front of Frankie. And Frankie finds out, what? You were making fun of me when I was a kid and I was raped? I feel God knows I did my best. That's for sure. That's something I do know. God knows. People think that I was just some stifling little kid running around. Oh, that's just your dad. Oh, that's just your mom. Oh, it's just Frankie. I just did this. Oh, where's my money? I'm just trying to take money and I just me. And they're completely lying. The President of the United States is completely making up stories of what my life was, what my mother's life was, and Frankie's. And he's ordering it through his people. Completely making it up. Because I would even try to get Frankie out of the house when I was a kid, and I feel, when Robert's Roddy used to come over, I used to try to kind of see, hey, you want to go hang out with us? And it was never smoke weed because I always kept the drugs away from Frankie, always. So, I was always like, oh, you want to go play basketball? Hey, you want to come? And he was like, no, I'm good. And it's a terrifying thing because. I would always tell Frankie, hey, I'm going to go with Robert. Hey, I'm going to Richard's. Hey, can you get Richard a ride home? Oh, hey, can you pick me up at the Dawn movies? So I was always reporting to Frankie, hey, I'm going to go to, I'm going to go to Robert's. You can be here all day, right? You can take her to Jillian? Okay, I'll leave. And so from Frankie's perspective, he knows that my mother is not going to the police and can't do anything about it. Like, it's a very clear understanding that Frankie is not to go to the police, continue getting raped, and my mother is knowing that this guy is raping him, these people are raping him, and there's not any response of protection. There's not any response of protection. This is all the profitable gain for them. All of them, not me. This is not like, okay, lead a peaceful life, we're here to help. This is all for them because they know they have my mother in the casket and me in the casket, and they already got the dead little girl. Because that's not even bringing up. Because if Frankie's staying in his cage and they keep giving him confidence he's not watching, this is something I wanted to say about Ivan too. Me and Ivan, we used to, besides riding bikes together all the time, there was something else we used to do many years ago. I thought about it earlier yesterday, a couple days ago, something that was very common. I can't remember. There was something. It was like an activity we used to go at a friend's house or some shit like that. But anyway, if I remember what it was, I'll talk about it. But I wish there was somebody that protected the situation and was putting justice, and there wasn't, and there's not going to. There's so many problems. Everyone's getting raped, and the police officers were entirely in on it. I'm 100%. I talked about it. You can get 600 students that went to that school, and they're all going to tell you, for those that can be honest and share, saw that police officer what he was doing. He was completely doing his performance on stage. So, there you go. You will never understand what they did to me in high school, why I didn't graduate. plotting against me and my mother. My mother will never know about what they did to me and how they were training me. Because she disposed Frankie, she had to do it to me. She couldn't do anything. You're trying to make a life, and she's taking me to boot camp. These guys were all training me to justify and tell me what I could and could not have. Because they knew I was talking to that white girl, Lisa, and he goes, and did that to me. And I remember being at this boot camp, and very distinctively just looking at him like, who the fuck are you to tell me I can't have no white girl, motherfucker? Like, I almost said that shit to him right in the fucking church. And I believe at this time I was being tracked down. I wasn't paranoid at that time, but I believe that it was possible my phone was being tapped because there were people that were dealing a lot of drugs at that time I was hanging around with. And I remember that they were all in fight for Miguel, and they were using that platform of military strictly against him. So, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody's listening to anything I have to say, and first of all, nobody's believing in anything I have to say, and very fraction of it. That I'm telling you as genuinely, as accurately as I can, this information. And I'm telling you, this is what happened. This is not just me looking for a fight or perspectives or picking at something. This is genuinely, I couldn't be more honest with this. So,